It's the Steve Cochran Show. I'm Matt Bubala, sitting in today. Jane is next to me as usual. Nick's in the newsroom. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Jane, you and I were talking earlier this morning about doing searches and cybersecurity and stuff like that. It's something that no matter your age, you know, we've all got parents, right? They're like, oh God, don't fall for it. Don't do it. But things change so rapidly, so quickly that I think we even,
fall
of course,
into it.
we worry about younger kids. We worry about our kids. We worry about the younger generation, what they're going. But even us today, joining us on the phone right now is Grace Hoyt. She's a Google cybersecurity expert. October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Hey, Grace, how are you this morning?
Hi, Grace.
Doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on with us. So October is Cybersecurity Month, but I'm guessing you would say this is something we need to be on our toes about all the time.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I feel like for me, every month is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, but it is something that we definitely want folks, your listeners, to be aware of. Some easy steps they can take to keep themselves safer online.
Let's start with the younger generation because we assume all our kids grew up. I mean, so many kids now never knew a time without a smartphone, and they're living with this now and dealing with it all the time. Are kids less prone than us older folks to fall for these things, or have the criminals gotten smart enough to get to those generations as well?
Yeah, so in fact, Generation Z is 3 times more likely to fall for online scams than their grandparents.
Wow.
We are seeing that, especially with an uptick of holiday shopping, spending more time online for school. Online safety is definitely important for folks of all ages.
I'm clicking on everything, Grace. I click on it. I see it. I click on it. It's just a thing. But this can also lead into clicking on things on your social media because that is also connected to online.
In fairness to you, Jane, you do click on everything, but in the end, you married the Nigerian prince and it all worked out.
It all worked out great. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he said, he asked me, gave me the rose, and I said yes. So fine. But the online security not only goes to us searching around on the interwebs, but also on our apps. I buy a lot of things online. Is there something I need to look out for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely want folks to be aware of something called phishing. That's phishing with a PH. Mm-hmm. It's a word that we use for like the most common types of scams out there. So this is really to make sure that you are not clicking on anything that looks suspicious, as they may be trying to bait and hook you in. That's how I think of phishing. It's like they're trying to get you into their whatever they're trying to do. So they could be impersonating a trusted source like a bank, even stores that you frequent. So I do recommend that folks, instead of clicking on that link, actually go directly to the site yourself. That way you know you're going to the place you're trying to go. And the good news is that Google blocks 99.9% of all spam and phishing emails automatically. But if something looks like a trusted source or someone you know, but they're trying to get you to give personal information really quickly or jump on a deal really quickly, usually I say if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Grace, real quick, jumping back to the younger generation that you said is 3 times more likely to fall prey to this than our grandparents. What are they falling for? Is there something particular that is aimed at them, or are they just not as hyper aware of things as we are as we've gotten older?
Yeah, so I think that because the younger generation is spending more and more time online, they're using those tactics I mentioned, like phishing or scams, whether it's a deal or impersonating a trusted source. And just to give you a sense of the scope here, scammers made $210 million off of people under 20.
Wow.
That's up from $8 million in 2017 last year. So with a surge of young victims, this really indicates the growing sophistication of scammers and the importance of taking a few easy steps to secure yourself online. Basically, the message here is, it will happen that folks will spot, they might not spot a scam, they might fall for it. And that's why we recommend things like a password manager and using strong 2-step verification. So in the event that folks, you do fall for a scam, you have a second way to secure yourself online.
Grace, that is the password situation is out of control for all of us, right? We have 8 million different ways, and it's very easy to go, yeah, but I got a really good one, so I can use it in 100 different places. I guess you would yell at us if we did that, right?
Well, look, I mean, I think it's only natural that folks want to take the burden off themselves to not have to remember all these many different complex passwords. I mean, I've definitely been there in the past. I think the good news is gone are the days where you really have to write everything down, every password down on a piece of paper, throw it in a drawer and lose it. We have great tools for folks to not have to deal with this. So one excellent innovation that we are announcing this Cybersecurity Awareness Month is something called Passkey. And folks may already be using this, but if you haven't, this is a great way to authenticate into your account. You show your face scan, your phone PIN, or your fingerprint, and when you're signing in anywhere, that verifies that you are who you say you are. So this means even if a bad actor did get your password, unless they have your physical device, they can't get into that account. You mentioned passwords. I know that things like passkeys may take some time for folks to turn on in their account settings. So people should be using a password manager in the meantime. The password manager in Chrome's great. It saves all your passwords. It helps you create unique long passwords that you don't have to remember yourself. And it's encrypted, so no one's going to be getting in there to get access.
Well, that's
to
the question, Grace. What if there's a leak? What if there's a data leak when we've put our face and our eyes and everything else in there? That's not a concern?
No, so I think what's great about something like Passkey is that is actually stored only on your device. So that face or PIN, it's never leaving your device and going elsewhere. So, and again, unless someone has your physical device, they're not going to be able to, and they're with you, they're not getting into your account. So it really makes that attack surface much, much, much smaller. And the great thing about something like the password manager, if you go to myaccount.google.com and sign up for that, you can also see that if there is a data breach and your password is leaked, maybe a third-party site or app has a breach, the password manager in the Google account settings will actually notify you right away that you can go in there and change your password immediately.
So we should believe those notifications that we get. I mean, I use Google Suite. A lot of us use Google Suite. A lot of us have a Gmail that we use, or we use the Drive, we use the Share. So a lot of times when I want to just Google something, it'll say, do you want to sign in? And I say, no, I'm not going to sign in. I'm going to do it as not me. So
as a guest.
Yes, as a guest. But do you want to sign in just for more security and use your Google Suite or your Google account? Or do we not want to sign in? So which is more, I'm always nervous as like, if I sign in, they're going to know where I'm at.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, that it's best to have your account have the strongest security possible. So two-step verification like a passkey that I mentioned, and then use that to sign in wherever you go online. Because if you're signed out and then you go to a site or an app, you're probably then going to be asked to sign in there, right? So that's another thing we recommend is kind of wherever you go, wherever you log in, you're securing that account. The good news is, I mentioned Passkey. We're partnering with folks' favorite sites and apps to make sure that Passkey is a way you can sign in wherever you go online, not just for your Google account. So sites like and apps like Uber, Home Depot, eBay, and many more have already enabled Passkey as a way to authenticate when you sign in.
Awesome. Grace Hoyt, Google's cybersecurity expert, celebrating Cybersecurity Month. Thank you so much for jumping on with us, Grace.
Thanks, Grace.
Thanks for having me.